Hello everybody, we are doing a god tier list today. We're including the Japanese gods from the DLC, and I think I'm pretty excited, considering this is probably the first tier list YouTubers do for the Japanese expansion. And let's get going to it. I'd like to hear your opinion later. Okay, we can go by order, I guess. We have Gaia first, and I think I would like to put Gaia on. It would usually be on A tier, just because recently she got her economy buffed, all Atlanteans did, but overall we still haven't seen too much Gaia and her win rate is not impressive. I think Gaia just for now belongs to the B tier. Maybe if a new patch comes out in the next few weeks, I might be putting Gaia on A, but for now I think Gaia is on B tier. And next up, we have Uranus. Okay, I'm not a big fan of the Atlanteans at their current state. They're not really impressive. They don't have anything special. They've been losing to the majority of the gods out there. They have some terrible matchups. So I think Uranus also is pretty close to Gaia. He could either be in front of Gaia or on the right side of Gaia. I think I'm gonna put Uranus just in front of Gaia on the B tier. Nothing too special, nothing too amazing, and pretty weak in plenty of these matchups out there. And next, we have Kronos on the list. So, Kronos for me is the best out of the three Atlanteans. He has the least terrible matchups and has at least some good matchups. Like, in my opinion, Kronos against Loki is nice because you can rush. A Kronos rush can work against most of the Norse players, unless the map is super safe. Kronos can match slightly the Egyptians and their economy. So I think Kronos is not on B tier. I think Kronos deserves to be on A tier just because he's the best Atlantean and he can match some top gods out there. What else do we have on the list? Alright. Maybe let's place now the Greeks. I think Poseidon is definitely strong. Many people, especially the lower level players, have been complaining about Poseidon, the fact that he can raid and everything. But I think Poseidon, even though he's okay, he's good, I don't think he's a god that can be placed on the S tier, for example. He's certainly better than Kronos. He has better matchups than Kronos. I would probably rank Poseidon on the A tier, and quite ahead of many other gods. And moving on, we have Hades on the list. Hades also belongs on the A tier. He's not that impressive to be on the S tier. He's not a priority pick for tournaments either. He's good on water maps. And just because he's good on water maps and he can face Norse while Poseidon struggles against Norse, I'm gonna be putting Hades just in front of Poseidon. I know you are wondering how can that happen. But yeah, I think even though he doesn't have really much mobility, Volts of Erebus is carrying Hades on the A tier pretty much. Alright, I'm gonna be switching around a bit the order. I don't like ranking civs, civilization by civilization. Let's go a bit more mixed. Fuzi. So, Fuzi is a priority pick for tournaments. We've seen that in the Mythic Wars. And he's pretty strong. He doesn't really have bad matchups, so that's pretty good about Fuzi. I think I will be ranking Fuzi on. It's pretty close. It's either on S plus or S. So that definitely gonna be pretty close. Fuzi has some very good matchups and everything. I will be ranking Fuzi on the S plus tier because he's a priority pick. If you guys watched the Mythic Wars tournament, the past tournament, how it worked like, where the top players were prioritizing Egyptians, were actually banning Egyptians, and picking Chinese first, always. Senong is the same thing. So Senong also belongs to the S plus tier because he was also one of the most priority picks in the tournaments with Fuzi. They're pretty close to each other. I think Senong is slightly better than Fuzi, slightly, because they basically do very similar strategies, but Fuzi does it with Ninja, Senong does it with Myth units, and Senong has like one of the best late games out there, if not the best. So Senong has to be, of course, on S plus tier. What else do we have? Now we have okay, let's do let's do Nuwa. So, Nuwa is quite strong, but she's not one of the best gods out there, in my opinion. She's not on the top 5 god list of mine, but she's still a bit close to Greeks. Nuwa beats Atlanteans, in my opinion, and I think it's fair to put Nuwa on the S tier. She's better than Hades, Poseidon, and Kronos, definitely. She has amazing economy and a very decent late game with cavalry, tiger cavalry, and everything. A very strong late game as a Chinese god. So there's not really an age where you can consider Nuwa being weak, so that's why she deserves to be on the S tier pretty much. What other gods do we have? We also have. Okay, let's do Freyr. Freyr, in my opinion, beats all 3 Greeks. Freyr also beats Kronos. He beats the Atlanteans overall, in my opinion, and does very well. Freyr is pretty close to be on the S tier. He's a very strong god, in my opinion. But here's the issue with Freyr. Freyr loses to Shenong and to Fuzi because he doesn't really have a mobility. Freyr heroes are so slow they won't be able to catch up to Yachis nor to the new Waquilins. Even though Freyr can do well sometimes against Chinese, because your issue are fire archers, right? And Freyr has access to the Huskars in the classical age. Still, Freyr is gonna be losing very bad to the Egyptians. So only because of the Egyptians, Freyr will be put on the A tier, but in front of Poseidon, Hades, and Kronos. Alright, what else do we have on the list? I would like to rank Amaterasu, one of the new goddesses out there. Even though Amaterasu has an insanely high win rate, still, she doesn't feel broken to me, in my opinion. There are gods that can counter Amaterasu, and in my opinion, these gods are Chinese and Odin, and Egyptians can do okay against her. And I think even though Amaterasu can compete, can do very well against Egyptians, I still think there are some lower bracket gods such as Odin and Kronos that do well against her. So we're gonna be putting Amaterasu on the S tier next to Nuwa, the 2 ladies. What else is on the list? Alright. Loki. Well, I'm not a fan of Loki. So Loki can lose to Kronos if Kronos does a successful rush, and hero ballistas are pretty powerful against Loki, in my opinion. And Loki sometimes has a tough time classical fighting after that big nerf, minus 10% bonus damage, counter damage inflicted. So I think Loki is definitely better than Gaia and Uranus, but he deserves to be on the B tier. Loki used to be a super strong god, but he received that many nerfs, in my opinion. Loki still has a nice late game, being able to spawn myth units for free, and having that extra counter damage certainly plays a role, but it's not that powerful as the other god power spikes out there, in my opinion. So Loki is on the B tier in front of Uranus and Gaia, in my opinion. That's all I have to say. What else is on the list here? And I would like to rank Isis. So Isis is definitely a priority pick in the tournaments, and was mostly the first god being banned in the past few tournaments, if not every tournament. And Isis, on top of that, had 90% win rate on Mythic Wars, the previous S tier event. So I'm definitely putting Isis on the S plus tier. She's stronger than the Chinese. She counters the Chinese gods, in my opinion. And again, powerful economy, powerful units, strong late game. There might be some gods that might have better late game than Isis, but until you get there, Isis has every single tool she needs to dominate in the game before even the late game hits. So in my opinion, Isis belongs on the S plus tier in front of the Sanong and Fuzi gods. Something else on the list. Now we have Set. Okay. In my opinion, Set counters Norse, and Set counters the Atlanteans as well. Maybe Kronos can match Set, but definitely A and B tier lose to Set. Hades can do okay, but I think Set is slightly better than Hades and Poseidon. You have those fast-running spearmen, they can coach up to cavalry. You have a shifting sense. Hades doesn't really have any mobility, so you can abuse that as the set player. You have, again, shifting sense timings and being able to hunt underneath your town center and everything, converting animals. I think, and set also counters Freyr, in my opinion. We've seen that plenty of times. So I think set is like on the S tier, but maybe I don't know. I think this is pretty close because even though I believe set is better than Nuwa and Amaterasu, we still haven't seen these two matchups too much lately. I think Set and Nuwa are pretty 50-50, so it's pretty hard to decide whether Nuwa should be in front of Set or if Set should be in front of Nuwa. I think, okay. I think I'll just put Set here, just in front of Nuwa, and if anything changes, then I will think again. I will take a second thought. So, even though Set is on S tier, you know, he's not as powerful as Isis, and not as powerful as Senong and Fuzi. Even though, in my opinion, Set does well against Senong and Fuzi, he still might struggle against Hades time to time if there is a nice defensive spawn where Hades is not being worried of, you know, being pushed. Kronos can match Set in certain maps where you can get a second town center as Kronos. But yeah, I think though Ra deserves to be on the S plus tier, and Ra has to be second to Isis so far, in my opinion. I hope that doesn't surprise you. I've seen people complaining, saying that Ra has been nerfed to the ground and Ra is pretty weak right now. I highly disagree with that. Ra is a priority pick for tournaments. If you don't ban Isis, you usually ban Ra or the Chinese. And the only reason I put Isis in front of the only reason I put Ra in front of Senong and Fuzi is because Ra counters Senong and Fuzi. You can always do a heroic age push against Senong and Fuzi as Ra and make it work nicely. And on top of that, you're not affected by map control too much. That's the strong thing about Ra. If you lose map control, as long as you have a gold mine, you are safe to do farms and pretty much compete your opponent's economy. Match it nicely, even though you have zero hand and everything. So in my opinion, Ra deserves to be right there. What else is on the list? We have Zeus. Zeus is okay, Zeus is strong. He's not as great as the Egyptians, in my opinion. And Zeus gets countered by the Chinese, in my opinion, because Zeus is one of these gods you cannot classical fight against the Chinese. Chinese will always wreck you in the classical age. So Zeus really struggles against the Chinese just in the classical age. If the game goes heroic, Zeus has everything he needs to match the Chinese. So I think I'm going to put Zeus here next to Nuwa and next to Amaterasu, you know, in between them, because Zeus can match Amaterasu. Zeus is most likely to lose to Nuwa, even though it's still a close matchup. But if you successfully classical fight as Nuwa, Zeus is gonna be in a really tough position. And another reason Zeus is, you know, ahead of Hades and Poseidon is because Zeus is powerful and can definitely be picked on water maps. So this is a fair placement, in my opinion. Next we have Odin. Odin has been very good lately. He's been doing very good against the A and the B tier gods. Definitely counters them. Odin can match Zeus, in my opinion, since Odin was buffed. Odin can match Nuwa as well, in my opinion, and he can also beat Amaterasu. But there is one big issue about Odin, even though he's powerful and one of the most annoying gods to play against, because you will be busy chasing down raiding cavalry forever. Odin is just so much faster than you and has such a powerful economy. So I would either put Odin first on the A tier or last on the S tier, just because he gets heavily countered by Egyptians, and certain myth unit raiding from Senong and Fuzi can really screw him up. Even though I truly believe he's strong, but he's just not on the top 5 gods, in my opinion. So I think I'll place him first on the A tier in front of Freyr and everything. Then we have Thor. Thor has been recently buffed, but people haven't realized how. Because now, since the villagers gather more favor by killing Hunt, so your human units generate way less favor now, your villagers generate more by killing Hunt, you can actually get Hammer of Thunder in the Archaic Age when you do the armory build. So we're going back to having 4 extra civilians as Thor in the Archaic Age. So we're going kinda backwards, where Thor was like one of the strongest god in the game. So having that change, having another dwarf out in the Archaic Age, and considering that villagers take more time to train nowadays, I think all of these changes were a secret buff to Thor, something that people did not really figure out. I recently played some Thor myself and I realized how strong he still is, especially after these changes. So for me, I'm either putting Thor on S tier, last of every god here, or on A tier in front of Odin. I think Thor has to be here, honestly. Last on the S tier. So Thor is not gonna be able to do well against Senong and Fuzi, in my opinion. Thor will likely get countered by Isis Ryan's set, and Thor doesn't really have too much mobility or too much counter to the fire archers against Nuwa in the classical age, same as Fuzi and everything. So Thor is pretty close to Zeus. Thor can beat Amaterasu, but Amaterasu can do better against the Egyptians. That's why Thor is placed next to Amaterasu. 2 gods left on the list, and here's how it would go. I would personally place Susanoo on C tier. Susanoo has a terrible economy. Susanoo does not have powerful units. Susanoo does not have insanely strong late game. Like, I can only think Susanoo having a good late game by constantly recasting god powers, which makes them cheaper and everything. But until you get there, it feels like Susanoo has nothing else so far. I don't know what's the best way to buff Susanoo. We might still need some time for people to figure out how to play him. But honestly, for now, Susanoo belongs on the C tier. One of the worst gods in the game, if not the worst god. Have fun being down there, poor Susanoo. And at last, we have Tsukuyomi or Susuyomi, some people say. I'm not sure which one's right. I'll be putting this god on... okay, so this god is a bit tricky. Tsukuyomi is a bit tricky. He's not bad like Susanoo. He can do well against the Atlanteans. He can do okay against the Greeks. He's gonna lose to the Egyptians, in my opinion, and he's gonna lose to the Chinese too. I think Tsukuyomi deserves to be on A tier. He's not as strong as Amaterasu in certain matchups, but he deserves to be on the A tier. So Odin counters Tsukuyomi, in my opinion. Freyr does okay, does well against him. I think I'll put Tsukuyomi here, just between Hades and Freyr. Because Tsukuyomi can match the Greeks until maybe not in hype late game, hyper late game, where the Hades, for example, will be full of Hippaspists and everything to counter the Samurai and the Shinobi things. But still, he gets every single armory upgrade almost for free by recasting the new Moon God power. He's pretty close to the Greeks. Greeks can counter though by going Hephaestus and having cheap armories as well from Hephaestus. So this is, in my opinion, how overall a god tier list looks like. I think I have a good point about most gods. I would really like to hear your opinions, guys, in the comments. So let me know what you think about that. And sure, leave a like and share the video if you would like to support me. So thank you very much and cheers.